Wassail. Salut et bonjour la classe. We are in Dieppe at the moment, as you can see from the beautiful chateau and the lovely seaside cliffs behind. I haven't been in for a swim yet. The tide's out at the moment. I've been for a very long walk this morning using the dowsing rods. I asked the single rod to just tell me in which direction to walk, and the first place it took me to was a cemetery up a very long hill, where it took me to the graves of Commonwealth soldiers. And although there were quite a few graves, it was interesting that the general message was that there's an enormous amount of people who have died because of war, and the energies of these people would like us to forget now, because they've moved on, they're doing other things, they're living other lives, and we need to let them go. So this "lest we forget" phrase that we have in Britain to do with the First and Second World War and Poppy Day is actually, it seems that the spirits of these people would like us to not forget war. It's a helicopter, that's a new one for the truth, instead of sirens. A helicopter. So instead of forgetting the wars themselves, we need to forget the memory of those that died. It's a very difficult message, and I do want to take us to a series of battlefields to try and heal the land, but we shall see what we shall see as we follow the dowsing stick. It's very lovely being here, and it's very wonderful just flowing and knowing that you're not really here to bump into anybody, but to be in a flow and to go where spirit wants. Now, I obviously walked all the way up to the top of that cliff eventually to do your reading, and discovered I had my crystal ball and everything else. I'd left the cards on the table at home and I repacked them. But I was also carrying the bowl. So this is the very first time it's going to be rung in France. Oh, that was so beautiful. That was absolutely so clear and so cleansing. Maybe that was the spirit of the soldiers and those that fell and died. I mean, fell. It's another one of those strange phrases that we use. It was one I learned when I was doing poetry in school, in Dolce et Decorum est pro patri mori, which is, it is sweet and fitting to die for your country. And yet the message today, all day, has been a series of walls. There's walls around things, there's barriers. I just walked through an ancient gate, and it was a wall that used to protect the town of Dieppe. And then when coming to the seaside became fashionable, they thought, hey, let's just knock the wall down, go to the sea. And I think that's a really lovely phrase, thought, to be remembered with. So, starting with Odin and the 9 realms, we have Odal. I'm thinking of getting this one tattooed on me somewhere. It's spiritual inheritance. It's the birthing of something new, and particularly getting the sun rising over the land in a new way, with a new look. I'm a bit concerned that was amazing. The wind is picking up, the bottle is precarious, my crystal ball is balanced on my drinking water bottle, and there's a little bit of a wobble going on. And as I thought to grab that, a card took off in the wind, and it spun like the helicopter, and it landed on the grass, and it's Odin. So the spiritual inheritance of Odin. This can be nothing other than what I've just talked about. Odin is very famous for creating Midgard, so as a place of great conflict and battles, and it's like he's left us this spiritual inheritance of war that needs to be ended now. So I have to keep tucking the cards away because the wind is getting really quite brisk here. So let's have another couple of Odin of the Nine Realms if I don't have to go and race and chase after them on the beach. It's so lovely to be here, everyone, and it's your donations and your private readings that have been financing this journey, so thank you all so much. I'm off to Le Havre next, and there I'm going to be stopping for a month to really explore the land and its surrounding areas for a bit and see what we can come up with in Normandy. So, Spirit, you've been ever present this morning. Can we please have... That also flew. 2 cards. They're really... Do you see the messages? I knew that the messages would change by moving land. I tried to do you a couple of messages in the port while I was waiting, and I also was going to do a message for you in on the water on the boat, but my phone died, so I couldn't do it. So I had to do the whole journey without knowing what the time was or anything. So it's all been about flowing with Spirit and not panicking about things and trying to overly reach out, and I had to wait. And then even here I did one little dash with some of the cards, and the cards were so happy to be here. So here is the next message. So here we have the Norns. The Norns are all about the destiny that is set for us before we are born. They visit children at their birth, and they give like an embroidery that they lay out for people, and that is their destiny and their plan. Now, the interesting thing about the Norns is that the Norns tell you that your destiny is set, and that actually worrying about karma is actually unnecessary. It's particularly unnecessary at the moment because there is a real sense that karma doesn't really matter right now. The idea is actually to release karma because nothing of the past belongs to the vision of the future. And the Norns tell us that we can take the needle and the thread, which they use to weave our lives, our destinies, and they can give it to us so that we can actually thread ourselves into a new dimension where things are better. So that's a very lovely message from the Norns. And then we have Os. Os is to be a vessel for destiny. So I know that feels a lot like a message to me, but it's actually a message to all of us that we need to be a vessel to destiny as it unfolds. But first of all, we need to acknowledge that the past is over and that we have to create a new vision of the future. So let's just see if we can have another pair of cards. Another pair of cards. Okay. So we have Nadur, and Nadur is the very difficult rune of shadow work. And we have Huginamunin. So they're Odin's thugs, as I call them. But actually in Norse mythology, ravens are very important. They say you should never make a decision without a raven on your head. So That's this idea that you should always check in with what spirit has going for you before doing anything. So this is about how we're being... Look, Huggin and Muggin are like a code. Their card is about turning and twisting to create a code to move forwards, to stitch ourselves into the next higher ascended reality in which things get better. But as I keep saying, to do that, you have to let go of all the people around you. Know that they'll be there when you shift up, but you can't take them through your portal. You have to allow that energy of time to settle around us. And that's, okay, so they're saying to me I have to resonate that message again with the bells to really set it into motion. So, let time settle around you to heal you. Let time settle around you to heal you. Let time settle around you to heal you. This bowl sounds so beautiful here in France. My goodness, how exciting. I have also got a little microphone to plug in because someone said they can't always hear me. But I left that in the residence that I'm staying at. So, you're being watched by your spirit team in the shadow work that you're doing. Now, this shadow work that you're doing, you don't actually have to cover everything you've ever imagined. The shadow work is asking you to face perhaps your most frightening or the darkest elements of your life that you always refuse to look at. Face that, and the rest will take care of itself. And actually you will start to drag up dark memories that will be connected to much better, lighter memories, which will help you to focus your life forwards to this raised embroidery that the Norns are offering to us. So here's another little deck of cards, the Light Seers Tarot, just to ask, what messages do they have? What messages do you have, please, for this journey we're all going on together through France? It's saying run! Quickly, get out of France! It's a really difficult card to give, just because there's a motorbike there, and actually Spirit wants us to say we need to not be using mechanical travel in the getting on trains and cars and commuting is what's stopping time from solidifying around us to heal us. So this is really a card saying don't go faster than you can run, which is an interesting message for the Knight of Swords. You need to cut out a lot of the movement that we're doing and keep it at a snail's pace. I was thinking earlier about the cliffs and how they're made from, especially chalk cliffs, from the bodies of decomposed marine life, and how long it takes for the earth to build the land we live on, and how little time it takes us to kind of bung explosions into things. Oh, I just banged my foot. To bang explosions into things and destroy things and bring things down, and yet we want change to happen so very rapidly. Well, I know I do. I'm terribly impatient, but I'm learning patience through this journey, just to go with the flow. Let go of all that might stress you. Oh, we've got a cluster of cards. So, it's like Spirit wants to make a joke with me. Something's happening very, very quickly. After I've just said that the first card's all about slowing down. But actually, it's about the speed with which thoughts and communications take place. But this Queen of Swords, after the Knight of Swords, and that's the next step up, is talking about how you're very quickly from this motion of deciding to slow down, you will very quickly become this energy, this very thoughtful, pensive energy. Look, just down here, her emotions are completely protected now. She's worked out what she needs in life, and she's very deeply satisfied with the things that she has around her. So that's the energy that you're moving towards. She's still a warrior, she's still got her samurai sword, but spirit's in the background and she's in contemplation. And we do need at the moment to think about a lot of things. And then we have the Seven Sisters, the Three of Cups, the Pleiades. Actually, rather weirdly, a friend of mine who is from the Pleiades and has an obsession with, a friend of mine, it's Sasha who did the healing with me. You all know Sasha. So Sasha sent me a text and asked me, rather randomly, what was the name of the boat I was travelling, and I went, how would I know? I'm not even on it. And when I got on it, we got on at the back, so I didn't see the name, but then they announced, welcome on board the Seven Sisters. So I knew that I was on the right pathway of the journey, because that's the other thing that Spirit will do, is synchronicities. So people visiting the website will turn up just when the perfect number that matches their lucky numbers will be the number of comments or the number of likes. There's so much synchronicity involved at the moment in this channel that it's really rather joyful. And we have, the sunshine is so beautiful here. Not that it isn't anywhere else. So we have 3 and 9. We have the 9 of Pentacles, to be strongly independent, to reach up and know that Spirit is gifting you with the things that you need to make your life. And that's with this card of the divine aspects of femininity, the Pleiades card, the Three of Cups. It's about reunion, about changes in our emotional makeup, and I get that real sense of the healing power of lavender and herbs, because actually we need to be looking at natural remedies for things. All up here hanging are bunches of herbs, and this is like Ir, the card of healing. I've just, another card has helicoptered off in the wind, so I'm going to have to go and get it. And it is the Magician. So there's what they're trying to say is that there is magic, because she has a mortar and pestle down here. This is the card of being healed. It's never been that before, but they're really talking to me about the healing energies that are coming in. There's candles, there's red currants, there's what looks like, I can't think what they're called, little tiny yellow, orange flowers, begins with a P, like primrose or something. But it's this aspect of health being brought to us through our connection to Spirit, and that being the physical body health, and then the Magician, because Spirit is with us, is working on our emotional health and helping us to get through that. So I'm now going to take one last deck, because I don't want to make this too long today. You know how easy it is for me to go on and on and on. And also I really want to go and get swimming. So we're just going to ask this deck for a little final message on the first day of this journey in France. Oh, that's so beautiful. So I just have to hold them down a minute before I show you and pop all the spares back, or we'll be chasing cards all the way down. So we have 2 cards, the Three of Swords and the Star. Healing of heartache. putting our hearts and our emotions back together and being cosmically healed. That's absolutely gorgeous. So, that's our first little message in Dieppe, in France. Tomorrow I'm doing my last fast journey on the train to Le Havre, and then I'm stopping still and can only go as fast as my legs can take me. So I'm looking forward to the journey, and I hope you're enjoying this, and it's all exciting. There'll be lots of other beautiful places. Hopefully I'm going to try and keep most of the tarot readings en location, as they probably would say in French if I could only speak it a little bit better. So, au revoir mes amis, and see you very soon.